Hello everyone, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, dear community. I warmly welcome you to this new video. It's great to have you back with us. We all know this compact mid-range battery impact driver from Bosch, the GDS 18V-450, a fairly solid device with certain advantages and disadvantages. However, recently, Bosch released its successor, the GDS 18V-450 HC. It's also a very compact battery impact driver with possibly additional special features and maybe even more power. In today's video, we'll take a detailed look at what this compact Bosch battery impact driver really has to offer, how it performs in practical use, and whether investing in it or upgrading is worth it. So let's jump right into it after the intro. But as usual, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this channel for free and activate the bell to never miss a new video in the future. The current prices of these devices can be found in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support, and now let's get started after the intro. The new Bosch GDS 18V-450 HC battery impact driver, a compact device with a lot of power, or so they claim. Whether that's true and if the device really lives up to its promises, we will thoroughly examine in today's video. In parallel, as shown before, we have the predecessor, the Bosch GDS 18V-300. I've already presented and tested this device extensively. If you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend checking it out. I'll link it for you up here on the info card because today's video will focus mainly on this new device, the 450 model. That's why we'll put the GDS 300 aside for now, and let's dive deep into the new GDS 18V-450. As you can see externally, the 450 HC comes in a significantly smaller cardboard box than the 300. This means that in the solo version, like this one, there won't be much included besides the actual device. On the bottom, we see the specific features of the device, as typical for Bosch. Furthermore, it's also mentioned here the battery and charger are not included. So it's really the pure solo version, and that's why I suggest we take a look at what's included inside the package. When we open the product box, a stack of papers greets us first. This includes the thick user manual for the 450 HC, as well as a small guide and a brochure showcasing the available modes on the impact driver. I must say that this is quite straightforward and naturally points to the corresponding Bosch Toolbox app. Of course, let's not forget the warranty information and the warranty card as well. Next up in the box is the actual battery impact driver, the 450 HC, and not to forget a corresponding belt clip down here. And that's it. There's nothing more included in this case. Batteries and chargers need to be obtained separately, as I mentioned before. So far, so good. That's all about the contents of the package. Now it's time to take a detailed look at the new compact 450. As you can easily see, the 450 HC is undoubtedly a compact mid-range battery impact driver from Bosch in the 18V segment. In comparison, here's the GDS 18V-300 for size reference. Only in top view, you can notice that the 450 is slightly larger. However, I must say it's not a huge device as we still have a very compact battery impact driver. You can feel this when holding it due to its compact length and the size and weight. I must mention that, in my opinion, this device is not too heavy for a mid-range battery impact driver. Of course, we only have the solo device here, but even with a small 4 ampere-hour battery, the device isn't significantly heavier. That's why I suggest we quickly check its weight to see how much it weighs. Let's start with the solo device, meaning without a battery and socket. It has a net weight of just 1,500 grams. As I said, the device itself is not necessarily heavy. Then, of course, the battery is added, in this case a small 4 ampere-hour one, and that brings the total weight to about 2,000 grams, which is 2 kilos for the battery impact driver. Not too much in my opinion. However, for those who want to use the device for extended periods, they may want to opt for a larger battery. For example, the Pro Core with 8 ampere hours. With that, the total weight increases to 2.5 kilos, which is naturally a bit more. It means that for this battery impact driver to save weight, and in this case it's almost 500 grams, I'd recommend using the smaller Procore with 4 ampere hours. In combination with the 4 ampere hour battery, the device is undoubtedly very handy and nicely flexible. Additionally, the center of gravity lies centrally in this direction, or more precisely, in the middle of the handle area, approximately near the trigger. Regarding the handle itself, I must say it's very similar to the familiar devices from Bosch, meaning it's ergonomic and easy to grip securely. As you can see, it's black with a rubberized texture both on the inside of the handle and around the gripping fingers, making it slip resistant. From here, I can effortlessly control the rotation and the forward-reverse function of the battery impact driver. Both control elements, meaning both the forward-reverse function and the speed regulation, are quite precise and smooth, with no issues or stiffness detected. And specifically, the regulation here in the lower area responds even with very light touches. The new 450HC has a small control panel at the foot, right here at the bottom, allowing for coarse adjustments directly on the device. By pressing the trigger, you can see that the control panel is automatically illuminated, displaying the current modes or settings directly at the bottom. The 450HC has, to be precise, 5 preset options directly on the device. These include 3 speed levels on the left side and 2 modes, A and B, which are also predefined. The 3 speed levels, 1, 2, and 3, as well as the 2 modes on the right side, can be selected and activated using the respective buttons below. As you can see here, I'm currently in speed level number 1, speed level number 2, speed level number 3, and by pressing this button over here, I can switch between mode A and mode B. The modes visible at the bottom are, as mentioned before, already predefined by Bosch. Specifically, Mode A is intended for machine screws and Mode B is designed for wood screws. Consequently, different screw scenarios or behaviors are programmed into the battery impact driver. For example, in Mode A, meant for machine screws, there's an auto bolt release feature, which ensures that the nut is loosened but stops spinning immediately to prevent it from falling off the bolt. In Mode B, for wood screws, there's also the automatic cutoff function, where the impact driver stops as soon as the screw is fully countersunk. Additionally, the device is also Bluetooth enabled. On the other side here on the handle area, you can find a slot for the Bluetooth module. Let me briefly open it up, and as you can see, the Bluetooth module is not included in this case. This means that if you want to further program the device, make additional adjustments, and play around with settings, you'll need the Bosch Bluetooth module. With it, you can connect the battery impact driver to the Bosch Toolbox app and customize various settings, response times, LED duration, and more. For now, let's keep everything at the factory setting, so I'll close the slot and let's take a look at the other specifications of the device. Furthermore, at the bottom of the machine, centered, there's a built-in LED meant to provide good illumination for the workspace. Moreover, it comes with a delayed shutdown function. Now, let's see how it performs in the dark. I'll turn off the lights, and the impact driver is positioned about 15 centimeters away from the wall. Once activated, here's the result. As you can see, in terms of light output, the built-in LED is undoubtedly good enough, providing sufficient brightness to illuminate the workspace or work area adequately with an extremely wide illumination angle. And what you can't see from this distance, but if I bring the battery impact driver a bit closer, is that the socket or chuck area is also well illuminated. What else is there to see at the bottom of the machine? Well, not much. On the right and left sides, there are small threads or notches where we can mount the belt clip, and at the very bottom, of course, is the 18-volt Procore battery that's inserted into the machine from the front. It gets even more interesting when we look at the head of the battery impact driver. As you can see, the head is quite compact for a compact battery impact driver, as I mentioned before. I measured it quickly, and the total length, including the chuck, is around 170 millimeters, which, in my opinion, is perfectly acceptable for its performance class. On the left and rear sides, you can find both the Bosch Professional and brushless logos, as the 450HC is equipped with a built-in brushless motor. This brings the advantage that the motor can be both compact and powerful, while also being maintenance-free and low wear. We don't have to change any brushes, as would be the case with a conventional brushed motor. The brushless motor delivers speeds ranging from 0 to a maximum of 2300 revolutions per minute, depending on the 3 speed levels available at the bottom, which is quite adequate. More specifically, in the first speed level, it delivers a maximum of 1000 revolutions per minute, in the second, a maximum of 1500, and in the third, 2300 revolutions per minute. Directly in front of the motor, you can see the built-in impact mechanism. Here's the impact mechanism housing. It's made entirely of metal with no rubber coating or protective rubber edge at the front. Personally, I would have preferred to see some rubberized protection here on the 450. Apart from that, there's nothing much to criticize about it. The number of impacts generated by the impact mechanism depends on the respective speed level. In the first level, the battery impact driver delivers a maximum of 1900 impacts per minute. In the second, 2500, and in the third level, a maximum of 3300 impacts per minute. Now, let's move on to the most important information about this battery impact driver. What kind of torque does it offer? As the name suggests, the 450HC provides an impressive 450 Newton meters of torque, which is quite respectable for a device of this size. Regarding the loosening torque, Bosch has indicated values of up to 800 Newton meters, also quite impressive. However, whether it can actually deliver this performance will be shown in the practical test. Personally, I believe the values sound realistic, so let's switch to the practical test. As you can see here, there's not much left on the front. We have the typical half-inch chuck with a retaining ring, securely holding the mounted impact socket, allowing us to proceed directly to the practical test. Now, let's begin the practical test of the new GDS 18V-450, the mid-range battery impact driver from Bosch. As you can see, we have a large 8 ampere-hour Procore battery, freshly charged for maximum power during the test. And of course, the device is set to the highest power level, level 3. I'm very excited to see what results we can expect from this test on the large hexagon nuts, in combination with the digital torque wrench. For each test, we'll tighten 2 nuts, with one of them being loosened using the digital torque wrench to determine the actual torque. The first test shows a torque of 213 Newton meters. As you can see, clearly no problem for this battery impact driver. Moving on to 266 Newton meters. Again, no challenge at all. Next, we have 368 Newton meters. Looking good, no issues. Continuing to 448 Newton meters. And now we're going even higher, 579 Newton meters. Now things get interesting. As you can see, the battery impact driver had to work a bit, but it still loosened the 579 Newton meters effortlessly. The highest torque value in the test. At 679 Newton meters, it's definitely a beast. Unfortunately, it couldn't quite manage this torque as there were still 330 Newton meters left on the nut. I would say that's more than impressive. Now, let's move on to the tightening test. I've just tightened the nut for 3 seconds. Let's check the torque. 472 Newton meters in 3 seconds. Now, let's continue with a 5-second tightening. As you can see, unfortunately, I couldn't capture the torque in this case, so I repeated the process. Another 5-second tightening. And now for the second attempt. As you can see, the nut is securely tightened after 5 seconds, and we have an impressive 605 Newton meters on the nut from the GDS 18V-450 after just 5 seconds. So far, so good. Regarding the practical test of the new battery impact driver from Bosch, the GDS 18V-450, I would say that the lab test has definitely shown that this new device has a lot of power. It's compact, easy to handle, and has enough performance for most applications. In the practical test, I determined a tightening torque of an impressive 600 Newton meters. That's 150 Newton meters more than what Bosch has indicated. The loosening torque was a bit lower, with the device reaching up to 580 Newton meters in the practical test, which, in my opinion, is still more than sufficient. It's important to note that in real-world scenarios, even when dealing with rusted screws and similar situations, the results may vary. So that's all about the new GDS 450. My recommendation definitely goes out to those who are looking for a relatively compact battery impact driver that still packs a lot of power. Compared to the GDS 210 or GDS 300, the GDS 450 has some extra power reserves that it can activate. This comes in handy, for example, during tire changes. I believe the battery impact driver will have no problems in such situations. With that, the video comes to an end. If you enjoyed it, please show your support with a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for free and activate the bell to never miss a video in the future. You can find the current prices of this device in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support and take care. See you next time. Until then, goodbye.